Thirsty Bitches podcast, where we talk about anything under the sun, from books to entertainment, self-help, and even a little spice. I'm Victoria.
I'm Kiara.
And I'm Katalyn.
And today we are here to talk about Native American Heritage History Month. It's really important for us to talk
Say
about
that 5 times fast.
I'm surprised I said it as quickly as I did just now. But it's very important for us to talk about these months because it's important to recognize that we live in a wildly diverse country, and unfortunately, a lot of the communities that we do discuss are heavily marginalized. And we just want to do our part in recognizing both the contributions that these groups have made to the establishment of the United States as a country and the ways in which we as a country need to improve how these communities are being treated. So,
listen, as a U.S. historian, that's me. I can actually call myself that. I will always say that the U.S. was built on immigration, except for this group of people. Technically, if you go back far enough in history, they did immigrate here over the land bridge connecting Russia to Alaska. Then they came down. That's how they got horses here. It's a whole situation. Anyways, we're not talking about that. They were here long before any of us. When I say that we are made of immigrants, I am not talking about them. We took over their land, and I will always fight for that. Because white people suck, man. Anyways.
But yeah, that's what we're here to talk about because it's important to recognize Native Americans and their history and contributions and what has been done to them.
Period. Before we get into that, we are going to do our quenchable moments. And if you're new here, a quenchable moment is something happy or exciting that has happened to us over the last week or so. We want to share with each other and with you. So to start us off, Katalyn, what was your quenchable moment?
My quenchable moment is there was like Stuff Your Kindle Day. There was Stuff Your Earbuds Day where they had a bunch of free audiobooks.
How many did
I
you
got
get?
Like 5 or 6. Only like 5 or 6.
Oh,
but I'm not as big into audiobooks, so I was like only ones that like really like stood out to me. Plus, there weren't as many options, but it was still nice to get some free books.
They were all
My
like
roommate
romance.
got like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly romance author based.
Yeah.
I got a lot, but that's not the vibe I was in. There's one that I'm excited about though. So,
yeah. But like some of the topic like genres aren't really what I normally read either, so that was also why I only got 5 or 6. But it was nice to get free books.
Did you get a monster smut one? Because there was definitely monster romance in there.
I don't know. Did I?
I got one of the dragon ones. There was a dragon one. I definitely got that. She's looking through it.
I got one called I got Paranormal.
If it's with a werewolf or a vampire, it's monster smut.
Oh, then yeah, because I got one called Oracle, one called The Villain Institute, and one called Dark Horse.
I thought it was so weird that it's like through book funnel. There's one. Did you get this one? This one I actually am like excited to read. It's called Earth and Ember by Lindsay Pogue.
No, because I only downloaded the ones that had Spotify, so that also limited where I downloaded stuff.
So if you went through like the author portal, it just gives you a book funnel link, so you can get like the book funnel app and just listen to them on audio.
I have the book funnel app.
Yeah, so it just went there, and then I got the rest of mine on Apple Books.
Nice.
Because I didn't know my Spotify login at that moment, and I didn't feel like looking it up, so I just went the other route.
But yeah, I only got like 6 this time around. But
nice.
But yeah.
It was nice.
I have been sending everybody TikToks about that out the ass for like the last month.
Yeah, you have. Bless up to Debbie, our girl Debbie. She posted the actual link to this in our audiobooks app, our audiobooks channel on Discord. So I was able to like be like, oh, that's where I go.
Well, I was just annoyed when everybody was like, why didn't nobody tell me about Stuff Your Kindle Day? I'm like, bitch, I've been telling y'all.
I've been telling you.
All over.
So,
well,
anyways.
Love that for you, Katalyn. We love free books. And hopefully they get you through your long days at the museum.
I'm not even physically at the museum. It's just at home. So,
well, but yeah. You're still working for the museum, so.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Victoria, what was your quick moment?
I recently got a coffee machine. I think I talked about this. I don't know if I did or not. I got one of those single serving coffee machines that does like iced coffee. It's not actually ice, but
I think you
whatever. I
told
like it.
us. I think you sent us like a Snapchat or something of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
you may have posted something on our Instagram, but I don't think you've talked about it here.
Okay. Well, I got one of the Mr. Coffee single serve iced coffee machines. It was like it was only like $20 at Walmart, so I was like, why not? Um, and I have a good friend that likes to flavor coffees from Target, so I decided to grab one, and I got the cinnamon vanilla flavor, which I'm really excited to try. The ones that she's gotten that she's had me try are all really good, so I think
Are
it's gonna
those
be good.
are those pre-ground?
Yes, they are pre-ground.
I will wait to tell you after this episode so I don't scar the people that are listening.
Whatever you're gonna say, I don't care.
It's just with the US, I'll just say it here. With the US, obviously we know the FDA, they allow certain
Our
percentages
food
of
standards are
their shit. They're
Yeah.
really bad. Um, Emily advises everyone, and she's literally grinding her beans right now. I could hear her doing it. Always get whole beans and grind them yourselves because on average they can allow 20% of the ground ones that you buy like pre-ground to have ground cockroaches in them. 20%.
awesome.
So
Extra protein.
I don't.
PSA to all of our listeners, just go buy a coffee grinder and get the whole beans and grind it
But
yourself.
then I can't have flavored ones. So, you know what? It's extra protein. Whatever.
That's disgusting.
Anyways, Kira, what's your quenchable moment this week?
Oh my god. So my quenchable moment is obviously if you're watching this on YouTube, I have my Halloween stuff up, but more so this is about my Halloween pillows. My
It's so
mom
cute.
found me, I don't know if you guys saw, there's this like trio set of like pumpkin pillows. It's like
Mm-hmm.
white, tan, and like brown. She found them
Mm-hmm.
at her Marshall's and so she's sending them to me. They're on their way. But I found at Home Goods yesterday this little ghost. It's not like
So
the
cute.
ones that we've been seeing on social media. My Target hasn't put their spooky stuff out yet, so I'm currently waiting to see when that happens so I can go get the ghost pillow from our Target, and so my little
Mm-hmm.
ghosty friend can have another ghosty friend. But what's really nice about this one is that it's knit, but it has like it's like a bean bag right here at the bottom to keep it weighted, so it always stands up.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we are recording this at the end of August, so Halloween has not
Yeah.
happened for us yet.
I've
I
already
decorated
checked 2
yesterday.
Targets for Halloween stuff. So
I decorated yesterday. Emily and I went out. Emily got decorations. She decorated her room yesterday. She got to fit her color scheme, so it looks really cute. But like,
Mhm.
it is. I literally just told you guys this before we started recording. It smells like smoke outside. I'm from Southern California. Smoke means fall, means Halloween. I associate the smell of wildfire smoke to the fall.
Hey, I'm just letting them
Yeah.
know because this episode doesn't come out until November.
yeah,
And
that
this
is
will
true.
stay up into November. Look at my little ghosty.
It's so cute.
Right. I'm so sure that you're not already going to be starting Christmas stuff in November. Don't lie to them. Anyways.
My mom found we had gotten when I was home last year for the holidays. I guess we had gone to World Market and bought their after Christmas sale stuff.
Mhm.
And she was going through some of my stuff in my room because I needed her some heels for my friend's wedding. And she
Mhm.
found the bag with all of the Christmas stuff that we bought. And she's like, "What about this Christmas stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot about that." And so she's mailing that too.
Nice.
There's a tree shaped pillow. And I got
Perfect.
these bowls that look like candy cane. I'm very excited. Guys, if you didn't know after listening to us this long, I love decorating for the holidays. 'Tis the fucking season. August means it's time. I'm just gonna sit here with my ghost this whole episode, just so you guys know.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
There was a
That-
spider on it right here that I took off because it was like a plastic spider. But there's still some hot glue there that I have to get off. But I put the spider on the counter in the kitchen, and I've scared myself 3 times with it. So I need to
Oh
put
my
it somewhere
God.
else.
Nice.
Gotta put it somewhere else.
Anyways, so as you guys know, I've been on a health journey, and with that, I've been looking for tools and products to help me get my health back in check. One of the things I've really been focusing on is staying hydrated, and a product that's really helped me with that is Liquid IV. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than with water alone. It's also come in super clutch when I'm out and about and I realize I haven't hydrated well enough. Plus, it's super convenient to keep in my bag or in my car in case of an emergency. Right now, you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code STAYTHIRSTY at checkout. That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop for better hydration today using promo code STAYTHIRSTY at liquidiv.com. Stay thirsty, bitches. On that note, yeah, the Heritage Months. I know for me specifically as a person of color, it's always really important for me to have these discussions because my lived experience as a biracial woman is going to be very different than other BIPOC people. So I try to always stay really conscious of just that aspect of living in the US, um, because I would say the Native community is definitely the one that has been is one of the communities that has been struck the hardest by colonialism, um, and they can still continue to have to fight and they continue to suffer. And I don't know, there are a lot of times where I just feel like people are not hearing them, and we as a country just need to strive to be better and to hear them more. I mean, all of the stuff that was happening with ICWA was just insane. Like, I just could not comprehend why people were trying to have this ruling removed, which fortunately it was upheld. But it's just
because
like,
white people.
yeah, I know. And it's just hearing the horrors of Native children being taken from their families and shoved into these white homes and being forced to learn Christianity. And, I'm sure that many BIPOC communities can speak on ancestors having to go through that. But it's just like a consistent problem. I mean, they keep discovering these mass graves of Native children throughout all of North America from these boarding schools, and it's tragic. And they shouldn't have to continue to not be heard.
I also just want to, like, on this note of just talking about ICWA, for those of you who don't know the acronym, it's the Indian Child Welfare Act, and it's a fairly new act. Like,
Yeah, it was.
it is younger than my mom. It was enacted in 1978,
Yeah.
so it's just along the same lines as like civil rights and everything. Like, this is very new. For It's only been around for like, what, 4 or 5 decades at this point. Like, it
I almost was
it's
like
not
30
even.
years, and I was like, no, it's not.
No, it's not the
No, oh my
90s.
god, I have that issue too sometimes. I'm just like, no, the 70s were like 30 years ago. And I'm like, no, 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 no. The 90s. The 90s were 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So take that with what you will. Anyways, so this is, it was originally published on November 8th of 1978. So obviously this is the month that this is coming out. And it's still a fairly new act for them to try and overturn it. It's
So soon. Which, I mean, obviously we're living in the time that we're living in where the Republicans, let's be very clear about who is pushing these changes. The Republican Party is pushing for this. Honestly, no one is surprised, but
I
it's
also want to
still
be
just
clear that
aggravating.
we are me as historian that does politics, uh we are going into an election year, big election
Yes.
year. So please, please, please make sure that you are registered to vote, that you are looking up information, that you are understanding what you're
Mhm.
voting on. I know everyone thinks that presidential elections
They're
they
not the
mean
only ones
nothing,
that are
but
important.
they are probably, they're important, but the more important ones that you need to be focused on are, your city, your county, and your state elections. Those
Yeah.
ones are huge, and every vote matters, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of states, especially on the East Coast, that are trying to redistrict right now.
Mhm.
And the only way to stop that is if you vote the way that you want to see things changed in your state.
We cannot have that happen, especially
What
because
North
again,
Carolina, I think North Carolina is
yeah. North Carolina is going through redistricting. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, we at the time of recording this, they just had the first Republican presidential debate, and if you saw that shit, that should be reason enough as to why you need to pay attention to your local elections.
I'm sorry, I watched that, and again, you guys know me. I'm very far left leaning, but there was one person on that debate stage that I was like, I could get with some of the things that she was saying.
Nikki Haley, she was the only one that didn't
She was
sound like
the
an
only one.
absolute
She was.
sociopath.
I'm like, the funny thing about like watching those things on TikTok, it was reading the comments, and it was a lot of people like me, and we're just like, wait, do we
Girl, you're on the wrong side.
agree with her? And it's because and I'm just like, wow, like what is this feeling I'm feeling? And it's the same feeling I had when I first watched John McCain go up against Obama, and he had respect for Barack Obama.
He did. They had
Even
respect
though
for
they
each
had
other.
different viewpoints, that they still saw each other as individuals, nice people, and you know, they were able to like connect on certain aspects. For Nikki Haley to be like, women shouldn't be put in jail for abortions. We need to protect Ukraine, and she basically called out the Republican Party and the debt that they've been putting this country into, which no one has done.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, Republicans are great.
This is a conversation for a whole other episode.
Yes.
So
But they are the ones that are trying. They were the ones that tried to push for the end to the Indian Child Welfare Act. So just understand where these things are coming from and make sure you are voting according to what you believe in and what you think is the best for this country.
Yeah, because it's so frustrating every day to see more and more stories come out of Native parents trying to get their children back for whatever reason, and they can't because the government has decided that they should not be parents for more often than not absolute bullshit reasons. So it's incredibly frustrating. And another thing that keeps happening, because again we're being led by a Republican Congress, is them pushing for all of these pipelines through tribal lands. Like beyond the ramification of just what it does to native land, is it's also just fucking up our entire ecosystem. Like for one, we don't have rights to that land. That is tribal land. It is their right to do with that land what they will. If they don't want a fucking pipeline through it, then don't do that shit. They have a legal right to decide what happens with it. But then also you're killing the planet. You're making things worse. So like,
I think in that sense, it's not even just the pipelines. Something that a lot of us, in assignment, us failing to acknowledge that it's happening. It's just there's not enough information out there. It is the drilling that is happening off the coast of native lands in Alaska.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the most detrimental to our environment.
Yeah, because Alaska has like a thriving indigenous population. Like they're losing their land in this space that's, you know, such a huge part of their culture and their welfare and their well-being. And if these companies don't stop doing that shit, they're going to end up killing this entire community.
I also want to point out that it's not just drilling too. There's also people trying to push to allow fishers to go and mass fish in these areas that are supposed to be protected for the natives of the land, for the indigenous population. The fishing can really fuck up the ecosystem. It you know, obviously butts into the normal diet of the indigenous people that live there, like what the things that they do and the way that they treat the environment and the animals and the mammal, like everything that's there. So it's so much more than just white people wanting to take their land. It's like just their whole livelihood.
Yeah, because what people don't realize is the tribes that live in those areas are fishing ethically. like, yes, um, they do go after animals that we in the lower parts of the United States wouldn't typically think of, because first of all, they have special licenses for this. Um, but they aren't just doing it to do it. They're like ethically consuming. They're utilizing all aspects of these animals. Like there's no waste happening,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going after 10, 15 at once. They're getting what they need and then leaving the rest to refill the ranks, so to speak. Whereas if they allow these companies to come in, they'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And like,
Capitalism.
yeah, it's just going to destroy the entire ecosystem.
Another thing in terms of the ecosystem, something that we've seen on the West Coast, I don't know if they're doing it as far east as you guys, Katalyn, but when it comes to wildfires and everything, there's a lot of areas, at least in California and Oregon and Washington, where they are kind of allowing the native population to handle the taking care of the land, because obviously hundreds of years ago we didn't have wildfires like we do now, and it's because
Mhm.
the indigenous populations knew how to cultivate and take care of the land
We don't
properly.
have as big of a native population here. A lot
That's
of
why I
our
didn't know if you guys.
tribes that came through here were, because it's hard because it's very barren the further east you go. Like it's good farmland, but it's very flat and then
Oh,
with the
I drove
mountains
through
here.
that.
So yeah. So they'd follow more the rivers than
Mhm.
That
necessarily.
makes
So like
sense.
where I'm at, we're between two rivers, so like there were more, but
Hmm.
not where our wildfires are up in the mountains. So we don't
Yeah.
have that, as far as I know.
Yeah, so like a lot of the land here on the West Coast specifically, tons of tribes were on a
Mhm.
coast. They're gonna be
Mhm.
up and down the coast. And we have tons of river runoffs as well. They took care of the land before white people came in, said you can't take care of the land, and now we're having all of these issues. And so our
Mhm.
governments are allowing the indigenous populations to kind of take back and recultivate the land, because they knew how to take care of it.
Mhm.
That's literally their whole life, was taking care of the land. So
Yeah. And it's good to see at least some parts of the government trying to make up for what has been done to these communities. Um, Especially considering like Native women are still going missing regularly, Native children are still going missing regularly. We all saw the aftermath of COVID and tribes not getting assistance for any of that. So I'm glad to see that there are some members of the government stepping up and at least trying, because and that's the bare minimum. That's the starting point. So we just, we as a country just need to work harder to be better.
yeah,
All of us.
yeah.
Even as somebody that's part of a marginalized community, I still recognize that my community can also do better to be a pillar of support.
Well, I think what doesn't help is, white people specifically, we pitted marginalized communities against each other.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault that you guys have those biases. It is white people's fault
Right.
historically. And when I say white people suck, everyone, is historically we are not great. And we
No.
just need to do better. We need to be better people. We need to be better than our ancestors and take care of the people around us.
Yeah.
People get
Oh, I
offended when I
meant to
say that.
start implementing this, but um, BIPOC people are now the people of the world majority, because there are more people of color on the planet than there are white people. So,
Listen,
What a
listen. All I'm
coincidence.
saying is white people come from areas of the world that don't get a lot of sun, and we hang out in the snow, and there's not a lot of places on the world that do that. So
Yep.
but yeah,
take with it what you
people
will.
people of the global majority, we need to start being better pillars of support for one another. Not that we're necessarily like not doing that, but there's always areas of improvement. Um, and hopefully by continuing to have these conversations, we can work towards that and work towards a better world for everyone.
Yeah.
I just want world peace. God damn it.
World peace. World peace. World peace. Sorry, that was me quoting Miss Congeniality.
I know. I have Karen from the Mean Girls musical in my head. And also Halloween and world peace. If you've never seen the clip of her doing that song, you should. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Anyways.
I do have one recommendation. This is me, a historian who has worked in U.S. history for the past 8 years of my education. I believe that it is up to us to kind of educate other people who look like us. Stop asking all of your people of the world friends. I'm gonna start using that.
Those members of the global majority.
Yeah, stop asking them to teach you when it is not their responsibility. So this is me giving you a resource because you should be reading things. It is a book. It is called Facing East from Indian Country, A Native History of Early America by historian Daniel K. Richter. I read it my very first semester of my grad program, and it's just like a really interesting take on the indigenous populations of the U.S. It's basically when we grow up in like K through 12, we learn about manifest destiny. We learn about colonists coming over and kind of moving across the country. My light just like died on me. But it talks about them kind of just like moving across the country and everything. Well, this is looking at fix it later. This is looking at that, but from the native perspective. So instead of facing west, like westward facing manifest destiny, you are the natives facing east and seeing these white people coming towards you. And obviously we don't have a lot of historical references to base this off of. So a lot of this is speculation on the historian Richter's part, but I think he does a really great job at kind of describing certain scenes and aspects that could have happened during this time based off of the few things that we do have from a few different indigenous groups. This book did win the Pulitzer Prize, or it was a Pulitzer Prize finalist in 2002. So if that tells you anything about the book, highly recommend reading it. I also have a lot of other recommendations if you guys want those, but that would probably be my first book that I would recommend to anyone who asks, hey, what can I read that'll help me understand the native population a little bit better? It's like, oh, here you go. You can read this one to understand what they experienced when the white people decided to come over. So
Nice. Thank you for that.
yeah.
If you guys have any recommendations on anything that you think that we should look into,
Yes.
any
Oh my gosh, please.
materials that we should read, please let us know. I'm always interested, of course, to learn more about communities outside of my own. Because as I've said multiple times, it's important that we understand these perspectives and have empathy towards these other communities that we are not a part of. Because how will we improve as a population if we don't? We'll just be stuck in the same vicious cycle of ruining one another's lives, and that has to stop. It's not sustainable for anyone. So, but yeah, hit us up on Instagram, TikTok. You can chat with us on our Discord. We have a couple of different channels that you can share that information in. We do request, though, that if you are wanting to discuss something that is a little bit on the heavier side, that you stay in the designated channels for that. So that way, if anyone does not have the bandwidth at the time of that discussion, sees it, they don't have a potentially harmful reaction to it. So we just ask that you respectfully stay in the designated spaces that we have for those discussions. And you can also hit us up on any of the platforms that we stream on. Love to see the comments there. But yeah, for now, Kiara, will you take us out with an affirmation?
Yeah, so you asked that as I was yawning. So sorry. It's early here, guys. It's early, and we're recording very early in the day. So today's affirmation is, it's okay to slow down. I know that everything that needs to get done will get done. Katalyn, that was pointed.
That was pointed.
Thanks for that.
It'll get done. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure to tune in on Tasty Tuesdays and Thirsty Thursdays for all new episodes, and be sure to subscribe and follow our socials. Listen in the description. Make sure you like, rate, and leave a review for the podcast to help boost us across the platforms. Have a lovely day, and remember, stay thirsty, bitches.